Hello everyone, welcome back to Outspoken Market Global. Leandro Guerra is speaking, and welcome back to the Outspoken Boost. And today's episode, we are going to discuss where we are in the Bitcoin path for 2026. I think you may have seen the previous editions and the previous discussions we had around the asset, and I want to start with an update regarding the centroids. That it's a key information that we have been following over the past weeks. And as you can see over here, yet, even if we had a week that was quite complicated, hitting the lows and actually back to the levels of 2021, the long term for the year, it's yet up. Of course, we had the dynamics changing throughout the week. The positions in the options, they have been changing as well, but yet they are nothing dramatic or dramatically speaking as the 40K, 30K that some are predicting. As I said in the previous lessons, this data it's dynamic, but still the perspective keeps the same. And honestly speaking, guys, we have not changed anything in the fundamentals of Bitcoin. Nothing that you have been hearing, it's true. There is a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubts around the asset. And what we have been witnessing in the past few days, it's about liquidity. Something that I cannot stress enough. That is the only true thing that eventually will shake an asset like Bitcoin. But the fundamentals remain. And why is that? The fundamentals remain because we still have money printers on printing euros, dollars, yuans, yens, and this has no signal that is going to stop. So we have that first point. The second one, if we look closely to the supply and demand levels from the om-qs.com, that you can see it's a free service for sure. You can come here, place the ticker from Yahoo Finance, and we have the expected levels. For February, we had the update. Remembering these lines, they are always ex ante. So the low that we have hit last night was already known in the beginning of the month, from 1st of February. And they remain the same throughout the entire month and eventually will be renewed to another levels in the 1st of March. If we look historically, we never had Bitcoin coming down that level. Eventually, it overcame the second supply line here in November 2024, but eventually it gets back through when the bands adjust, and it's also a signal of the volatility being and the price being stabilized. So if something really dramatic happens yet in February, because we are still in the beginning, we have a great probability that we will be back to the bands later in the month. So this is what we can expect. If the recovery continues, we may hit back the up levels, the supply levels on which we have the first standard deviation around 87, 800K, and then the second one back down there in the 97. I would say it's unlikely, but not impossible. But what we can expect is, of course, something in between these ranges. And you have all the historical evidence over here. When we look at a weekly level, and the weekly level would be a good representation eventually when we get an stress as we had yesterday. Yes, the price can pop out the bands, but eventually we'll get it back there in the same week or eventually in the following one. So it's also a great opportunity for entering the market. As I said, the fundamentals, they have not changed. And I want you to understand the following. If you go to, I don't know, a shopping mall and you see a jeans with 50% discount, I'm pretty sure that you don't hesitate in buying it. Why will you hesitate to buy Bitcoin now that it's at 50% discount when we compare back to the all-time high we had? There, when we were in the all-time high, everybody wanted to buy, right? And now you are scared, you are afraid. So don't be afraid. This is the time that you think about, of course, your financial conditions. Everybody know their own stuff. I don't need to make recommendations and ask you to be careful. But the thing that I can tell you, well, here's the discount that you have been waiting for. So you cannot say that now you are afraid, because that thing, it's not going to zero. Well, Leandro, eventually if that goes to zero, well, we have tried to create a better money for the world. And eventually it has failed. But I mean, this is a very extreme case, and I don't believe this is going to happen. That is my opinion. What it's not my opinion, it's the data, are the facts, and the facts are pointing out precisely these components. Now, if we take a look for the very short term, we have the following. So not this window, that one. So this is also the gamma exposure analysis, the GEC analysis that we do again daily and for free in the om-qs.com. So you come here to the Quant Lab. Every single day I post all the updates and the levels that you can expect. This is based on the data from the options chain from Bitcoin. And today we had another incredible day. As you can see, yesterday in the drop that we had during the night, we touched the monthly second standard deviation for the OM S&D. Today we have opened when we got actually the expiration from the options from the yesterday, because remember Bitcoin has options expiring daily, and we had a huge recovery back to the walls that are the levels on which we wait for the price to touch to open the long straddles positions within the options, and then we already end out with a really nice profit, and the price keeps escalating up. That is another good point. So but you can see that every single day we hit the levels, and our probability of making some money out of it, it's always very high. So take a look, follow if you want to check what were the previous levels, how it has behaved throughout the time. Everything is here documented, and everything is here for free. Tomorrow it's Saturday. Usually it's a day with very low volatility, so we don't expect anything possible to be done related to the long straddle. However, you can think about a short straddle. Leandro, I have no idea about what you're talking about regarding the options. So visit the other classes that we have here in the channel, on which I have explained everything about that particular subject. And of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask anything. Looking to the major trends, so if I come over here into the OMQS crypto model, we'll check up the BTC USDT. In a daily basis, we are yet in the downtrend, no doubt about it. And here I want to make a parenthesis and make a very clear distinction. You might be a holder, and you might be a trader, or you might be both. If you are a holder, most of those things that I'm talking right now, they don't matter much to you, because you will do the dollar costing average, you will buy regularly, and in the dips like we are now at this moment, we will take advantage if you have an extra cash to buy even more, right? And the point that you must understand is to do not get panicked, desperate, and then sell during the low times. If you are a trader, yes, direction and trends they matter. And here you have the tool set that can help and guide you throughout this journey. We have hit the levels as we have seen. The major trend yet it's down. We can see that we are in the high short position probability because we have the short signal coming out of the OMQS crypto model, and we are yet in that levels for the daily time frame. If we check it out, the others ones, they are a little bit more dynamic. So we had several wins on the buying backs that we had, another sales and so on, and now we are surfing this last one that it's already giving us about 28% of gains, and you can check different time frames as well. So the perspective yet remains favorable for short positions, but remember that we are in a recovering phase. Eventually this scenario might be a little bit chaotic, especially because we have the weekend ahead on which the probability, the volatility, apologies, usually low. Once this is renewed, we will be keeping following that information daily and then providing to you throughout our tool, throughout our website. Okay, guys, so perspective wise, in terms of fundamentals, again, nothing has changed. So take advantage of that opportunity for buying Bitcoin with a huge discount. Traders, pay attention on the reaction of the market in the levels of the walls, in the levels of the OMSND, together with the OMQS signal, and let's see what we will have next week. I'm quite excited and anxious about that because the, let's say, recovery is already very aggressive. If we pick up the, I mean, the minimum that we had yesterday, about 60K, now we are already in 69, so we are speaking about 15%, if I'm not doing the math wrong, exactly 15%, a little bit more actually, almost 16% in less than 24 hours. Okay, we have seen it coming down the same way in few hours as well, but it's beautiful to see all of that volatility. Which, by the way, speaking about volatility, since we have been into these very dramatic movements lately, the implied volatility of the options, they are actually quite expensive. So it's indeed an opportunity for running short straddles or short strangles throughout the week to get that volatility coming down, which is natural. I mean, we have seen the V movements before, but having a V movement that lasts so long in this time frames, it's unlikely, or at least with a very low probability. And then you can measure your risk, and then you can take that opportunity as well. So we are clearly moving to the call wall of 2 days to expiration and to the put wall for all expiration dates to the end of April, that is 7K. If that is extremely favorable yet for today, maybe we can see the touch in the call wall for 1 day to expiration, that is 7th one, and probably the day is going to end over here, right? We have the 7th that is the call wall for all expiration dates aiming the end of April, but a movement like that in a day, it's extremely unlikely. So if you are already in some profit, consider or at least follow closely to get the most out of it. Okay, my friends, so again, thanks for watching. Like the channel, subscribe to that, share with your friends, and any questions that you may have, just let me know in the comments or join our Telegram group that it's free as well. The link is on the channel, and see you next time. Wow, beautiful, isn't it? We are really, while speaking, you have followed me together with that movement, and it's simply amazing. It's getting there, getting there. We will hit 70K. Take care. See you next time. Bye bye.